We are live. Finally,
All right.
hope there's somebody out there watching. We
Gotta
finally
love technology.
regulated technical difficulties. So, where would you guys like to start?
Uh, Overall, what did you think about Vari as a character and as a person? I keep having to remind myself that this is like Vari's real story,
Yeah,
handed down through oral tradition.
exactly. All right, you want to go first, Danielle?
Yeah, I guess I will. I don't. That's what makes me feel like bad that I didn't like Viry, but I think it probably. Okay, I thought Viry was okay as a character, but I felt like she wasn't fleshed out enough. Like
I
I
agree.
don't really know who she is, and at the end, even though I didn't really like the end, I felt like we got to see a little bit of her. She kind of came out of her shell, I guess. But when, particularly during the slavery portions, she just seemed like, I don't know, she didn't even seem like a real person in some ways. It was like everything was just it
Yeah,
was
I
monotone.
think that's kind of true to how blacks were seen then anyway, though, and because that would have affected how they saw themselves. I don't think that she was seen at that time as a person. So to
Yeah.
have come out of, brought and raised into the tradition of being less than, and
Mm,
then coming into this freedom as she becomes an adult and a new adult and trying to figure out, well, what the heck does this mean,
Hmm.
for me, and still not, I don't think she ever got the opportunity that we saw to break away from what had been ingrained in her in the time period that she was a slave. So she's still that accommodating thought, and her being accommodating the way that other people looked at it. For case in point, Ennis,
yeah.
the way
Yeah.
he looked at her, the accommodating person that she was. I think that's kind of true to just what she was brought up to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can side with the both of you in the sense where yes, one of the I think one of the pitfalls of this novel is that there is a lack of that character development or something
Hmm.
like that. And I think it is probably out of the fact that it is, like you said, it's out of oral tradition.
Hmm.
However, at times I found Viry a little slow. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. I found her a
No,
little
I
slow
can
to
understand
understand her
that. I can
condition.
understand that.
Okay? The first time I felt I was just like, really, girl, when she went and asked if the
For
master,
if she
if she
could get
could get married
married.
to the key black man, I thought, is she really doing this? For real? I couldn't believe it. I was just like, no, she's not doing this. She's not that slow. Um, and then of course when she supposedly was gonna escape and run off, with
And the
Randall and leaving her babies, and I was like, she's not gonna leave her babies.
not and then taking your babies, but you live in the swamps and it's
Exactly.
been raining
Yeah,
all
that's what
day.
I'm talking about. Yeah, it's like what? Who does that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of times when I was a little bit like, really, girl? Like when she was
But you
selling
know
those
what
eggs
what I
and the
found?
greens and the stuff to the white people in
Yeah.
the town, and she was listening to them like, really like massacre black people and say all kinds of crazy stuff, and she was just up there selling her eggs like,
I would have turned my butt around and went right back home. And it's where you
but
at, boo. I'm ready.
but that was one issue that ran through the book is a little bit of colorism going on there.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And that was very strong right from the beginning, whereas the fact that she grew up with the privilege of being light skinned and looking very white,
Hmm.
and being in the house, and then her perception of
Of
black people that work in the fields. I was like, girl, really? You
But
got a little,
that was
you
not.
know?
I have seen that in other like historical fiction novels.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's gotta be. true. That part of
Oh
it
yeah,
has
I
to be
agree.
true.
It's
Like
got to be true.
the separatism that went on between those who were in the field and those who were in the
Exactly.
house and those who worked in a certain part of the field, because you still have the
Yeah,
separatism between, well, what you
absolutely.
pick, I get cotton, I pick corn, I do harvest at this
Exactly.
time, and it's
Mhm.
yeah, it's
That was, but then also, I love the way at the end when Randall comes back. Oh, there's this man, black as night. You know,
the blackest man I ever seen.
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, how many times are we gonna say this man's teeth are pearly white and he's just black as night? And I'm thinking, wow, this
Yeah.
is too much, But
And then
yeah,
to have the picture of what Viri is or how she is, and this is what we get on the front of the book.
oh no,
I know,
that's
right?
that's the 1970s copy, I guess. That's the politically correct cover.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay. So we kind of agree on that. The colorism was kind of evident running through the
Yeah.
novel. Um, you had said something before, Danielle. You said something like, "Oh my God, I felt like this was some kind of black version of Gone with the Wind."
Yeah, I mean, I just thought that that's what Margaret Walker kind of was trying to
Was
do.
going for.
Yeah, she wanted to be like, okay, this is black folks Gone with the Wind. And I think that actually kind of, I
Yeah.
think you should have not tried to do that. Like, well, okay, the thing that bothered me the most was that, yeah, it's historical fiction, but she didn't go completely for the historical and she didn't go completely for the fiction.
No.
And,
Yeah.
and it was like, I almost would have rather she either wrote a biography about her family,
Yeah.
Viri, or completely just fictionalized it. And that's like
Right.
where it was weak for me because like you said, you said, she was trying to be faithful to what she heard, but by doing that I think she made Viri less interesting and
Less
sometimes you just
personable.
gotta give
Mm.
you gotta give into your creative instincts, and it still could have been like paid tribute to her family, but it's been
Yeah.
completely fiction, and just took aspects of what she heard. But I think she kind of, I don't know, I almost wish it was just one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and that's why I like the Gone with the Wind. Like I felt like she tried to make Viri sort of, very genteel in some ways, but then also
Mm.
kind of fiery, kind of like Scarlett O'Hara, but not.
Yeah. There are
Definitely
moments
wasn't
when she's a little
as.
fiery, like when she had that pot, that skillet. She
Yeah,
was
I'm
ready
gonna
to
brain
knock
you right
Yeah.
here in
him
this
into his
kitchen.
head.
I was like, yes,
Okay.
girl. But yeah, I was on her side for that.
Yeah, I was too. 'Cause it was pretty bad because you're like, he's actually beating him, like harshly with
I
a branch,
know.
like making welts on his
Yes.
back, like a
Where he
Yeah.
grease.
broke the
I kind of
skin.
felt bad. I felt bad for them when they kept calling Jim like lazy. I don't know. It kind of like got to me. Like I'm like he just doesn't. I mean,
He's a
I
child.
He's a
understand it,
child
but
and he never had that experience.
yeah,
He
exactly.
didn't.
And he tried to explain that to her, and it was like she couldn't. Obviously, she couldn't understand that, and
Right.
she did to an extent. She did try to protect him. But Ennis, he really like. I almost feel like Ennis, he had a chance to do what was done to him, and so that's what he wanted to do. It was like I had to be worked
Exactly.
to death
Well,
almost.
this is what worked on the plantation, so it must gonna work now.
Yeah, and it's like,
Exactly.
mm.
Because he even said something similar to that.
But it's like
He
you didn't
said
like it
something similar.
then, so why would no one should be worked that hard? That was ridiculous. So you shouldn't do
Right.
that to a child just because it was done to you, But yeah, what did you think about
Well, the
Ennis?
kids never actually had a childhood, and the thing is, the day that the Union soldiers read the proclamation in front of them and said that they were free, Jim was old enough to understand what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, he took that on board as, oh hell, this is freaking cool. I'm free
Right.
now.
And I ain't got
I
to
don't
do
have
squat.
to like
Yeah,
my mom was treated, kind of thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't think Viri, the obsession of them trying to find a home took over the childhood of Jim and Mina, because they didn't have a childhood. It was like the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that counted was them moving from one place to the other. So they were literally deprived of those, those free years of being a child, and free. They were not really like children. I mean, like they only had like one toy, and they only got the toy because they were really sick.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, it's not even like they got the toy because they were fully capable of playing with it, and it was like acknowledging that they were children. It was like they were still in the slave mode,
Yeah.
realizing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think that's what was really interesting. There were certain aspects that it's like I thought about it. It's like, well, if I was in that position, I don't know if I would act any different because this is
Yeah.
all known. And it's not like people came with a handbook and said, here, this is
this is how you don't be a slave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like that was like, it was funny because the part when Ennis got all mad because he was like, the government, what has the government done for me?
Government, yeah.
And then the soldier was like, well, did you ask? And I was kind of like, well, I mean, he does have a point, but at the same time, how would you know to ask? Like,
exactly. He's an illiterate man. He doesn't read and he doesn't write. So what does he know about the government?
Like they didn't know they wanted to go to Montgomery, but they couldn't get there.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't know that it was like in every town or whatever there was supposedly a representative from the Freedmen's Bureau. I mean, how would you know that? There's no way you would know that unless someone told you, and the white people weren't going to tell them. So
right,
like
because they didn't want it to exist anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that's also another that's another aspect of society. Even at the time that Margaret Walker is writing the book, I think that is this issue of the government. What is the government really doing?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing has always been a problem. For Americans in general, the idea of who thinks the government should be there to protect us and pay for us, or those who think no, you need to pay for yourself, and so that sort of goes with this whole idea of them trying to find their independence and find a place where they can settle down and live their lives, in peace and harmony. But yeah. Anyway, so what did you think about the transition in the book? Like from in the beginning, we had the slavery years and how it focused more on the slaves themselves, and then it's so suddenly, transitioned into hearing more about the white family in the big house. And all. What did you think about this transition? Did you think it was done well, or?
That's where I lost and had to keep reminding myself that this was supposed, because that's the fiction section of the story, because they don't really know the full details of the things that transpired in the house. That's where I kind of lost the thought in my head that this is Vyrie's real story brought on to paper, and I had to keep reminding myself that this is supposed to be real. The portrayal of Big Missy, and I'm totally spacing on what her real name is, but the portrayal of Big Missy is, I thought, was close to what you think the madam, the mistress of the plantation would be, especially when your husband's screwing all these slaves and you got all these bastards of your husbands that are under your control, under your care, and you can't sell them.
Yeah.
You're stuck with them.
Yeah, because I mean, it is quite archetypal, the way that she's portrayed, but you do get that sense of the things that we learned about slavery, which is the white woman is sort of like treated like a child, and she's nothing more than a way for the big house to be run and to have heirs, legitimate heirs,
right?
Not all the other ones are making on the plantation, but that they're treated poorly, and then because of that, it makes them angry. It makes them brutal. It makes them do some really crazy things, and they always wind up half crazy. In some shape or form.
Some way, shape, or form, they end up a little nuts.
Exactly. I mean, they've done so many horrible things. They've watched their husbands do so many horrible things. It just has a horrible trickle down effect on everyone. So you see, what I thought was interesting is that the children, the white children in the big house, are just as marred in some cases as Vyrie's children.
Yeah.
That connection between black and white is not a good connection, and this slavery connection is not good, and it's not good for anybody. That everybody is going to suffer in some shape or form, and I thought that was interesting how she managed to, to convey that through the transition. But it's true, the transition is a bit brutal as well, because I wasn't expecting it. Were you expecting that transition?
Nope.
No, I wasn't expecting it, but I felt like it was necessary.
Yeah.
We needed to see good, bad, and ugly what other people were feeling, I guess. And I feel like, okay, I do have to mention something. It's sort of off topic, but kind of. One thing another thing that really stuck out to me and kind of bothered me was that when it came to describing the horrors that the slaves went through, the violence and everything, she was quite graphic with that. But then, graphic. When Miss Lillian gets attacked, we don't get to see it.
There's nothing of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw that. I noticed that.
You can argue that it's because, we're with Vyrie's point of view or whatever, but she switched points of view before.
A lot of times she could have put something there.
Yeah, and I felt like in some ways, I don't know if she did it, if her publisher, editor, whatever took that out, but it felt like it was like protecting them. Even when Miss Lillian wasn't protected, she still was like protected from violence.
Yes.
And that like really upset me. It's like, oh, we get to get the violence of Vyrie getting, her
getting her lashes.
Her lashes, the public hanging of the two slaves who were accused of killing, and this whole sermon that's preached against them.
I know, the whole sermon that's like, you better stay loyal to us or this will be you. And they have to sit there and watch that and make food for all these people. And it's like, but, we get to feel all that, which was disturbing. It was hard for me to read. And then it's just like, oh, there's a hint.
She got knocked in the head and come help mom. That's it.
Yeah, and
exactly.
I mean, it's sort of like hinted that she was sexually assaulted, but we don't know. Not that I would.
That nothing happened. The doctor said she was okay except for her head.
Yeah, but it's like, okay,
that doesn't really mean anything.
Okay, it's relative. He sucked. He was horrible.
He was horrible.
He was horrible.
He was so nice to Vyrie because I think also that was another thing. Like, white people were nicer to her because she was light skinned and and they and because she was loyal, they were like very nice. It's like she didn't have to stay at the house, but she stayed there and took care of everything. And so
because I would have hightailed it out of there as quick as they said I was free.
Right?
I know. When they said like they were the only ones left, I was like, girl, leave. Why are they still there? Leave.
I would have made dust tracks right behind me
in the road.
I don't care if I had to live in the swamps. I would have gone away from that house.
There were a whole group of people that they could have gone with. There were a lot of slaves behind the soldiers.
Yeah, but she wanted to wait for Randall, Mr. Chocolate.
Peace.
With the pearly white teeth.
He making pit stops on the way home. Peace.
And then, of course, from the description of him at the end, I can understand why she wanted to wait for him. Oh my goodness. Well, let's see.
Oh, should we talk about about every character or the main characters?
Yeah, if you want. I think I managed to write a lot of them down because it was so many people.
Yes.
Well, okay, one thing I thought was really interesting was the Marster, that's how you're supposed to say it, right? Master Marster.
Yes.
Marster.
Yeah.
He's a weak ass man, obviously.
Yes.
His character, I don't know.
He was kind of weird though, the way he was done.
Yeah, and then the weirdest part of the book for me was And this probably was like the thing that was absolutely true, because it just felt kind of like it didn't fit, and so I felt like that's why it was in there, was when he told Vyrie that when he died he was going to set her free, which I know that was done sometimes.
A lot.
Yeah.
But like, you know, we never found out if that was true or not, and that's why I felt like that probably was something that was passed down in oral tradition, and so that's why she put it in there, because she wanted to stay faithful to it. But it was like, I thought that we were going to get an answer to that, but then it never happened. I felt
even if he wasn't lying, he obviously was not the person who was wearing the pants in the house. So he could have said whatever he wanted, and Big Missy wasn't going to let that fly.
Big Missy was in control of that, and she wasn't
going to let that fly. No,
Big Missy Selena.
Anywhere. You mind.
Mm-mm. So
Selena.
He was an interesting
character.
And then like the hint that he was like semi in love with what's her name? Vyrie's mom.
Mama Suki.
No.
Not
this Hedda? Is that her name? Wait, what's her
name? Hedda.
Yeah, Hedda.
Yeah, it was Hedda. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it was kind of like hinted that he couldn't take any other lovers after her. I was like, oh God, yeah.
Please stop it.
And see, that's just
lovers, not victims, but lovers.
Now he couldn't. He could have. She just probably had the best on the plantation. I'm sure he tried a few others before he got stuck.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like, okay, another thing I have to say. I don't know why, but I found it this is horrible, but I kind of found it funny that everyone was dying like one after another.
Yeah, in the beginning, yeah.
It was kind of like comical, like when it's like, Master John dies. Then, wait, who died after that?
Little Johnny died.
Little John, and then Kevin.
Even before that, you had Mama Suki
die. Like, I think she tried to show that it was just like so many people dying, but it was almost like ridiculous and comical because they were dying so quickly, and so.
But even before that, you had Mama Suki and you had Aunt Sally.
Yeah, both of them was taking out like 1-2 punch because Grimes brought a kid with the plague to the plantation.
Yeah, well, that was sadder to me. But then when the white folks started dying, I thought it was sort of like funny because she did it so ceremoniously. It was like they're dead, they're dead, they're dead. I'm like, girl, take a breath. And but yeah, yeah. Who else?
What about Kevin McDougal?
Oh, I don't know.
Husband.
I guess out of everyone, I liked him the most.
Yeah.
The white folk.
And he was the one who was not portrayed as favorable as some of the others in the way that they talked about him. He was just not
against slavery. He was obviously against slavery, and they hated him for it.
Yeah. Like he was the one. He spoke the truth. He like knew that the South was like all talk and that they weren't going to win the war. He knew that the North. You know, and it's almost like because he wasn't well off, he knew that. You know,
which he was supposed to be educated, really educated.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was really educated, but he wasn't. You know, he wasn't rich, but
no, he wasn't rich at all.
Yeah, and so he didn't have he just felt like the war was not going to work out, and he didn't want to fight, and he
didn't think it was worth it.
Yeah,
he didn't look what happened to him.
Yeah,
look what happened to him. It's like,
and Miss Lillian. Miss Lillian, she, poor girl.
She winds up cuckoo.
She not crazy. She know her
I'm
name.
not crazy.
I know my name.
I know my name.
I'm not crazy.
Oh my God. Laughing at this poor one.
Oh,
what about Johnny? He was kind of interesting.
Oh, Dee Dee, are you keeping up on the comments? Sorry, people are commenting.
Oh.
No, because I can't see anything.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Where's that?
Okay, hold on.
You know, I don't know what's happening. This Google Plus is a hot mess.
I know. I'm sorry we were late, you guys.
Girl, I don't know where to go.
I'm gonna figure it out
in a new window and then just mute it, and stop it, and it should show up. Sorry, we're trying to figure this out. So
we're figuring it out as we go.
Okay, well, you're going to be the question lady.
Okay, all right.
What question you got? There's
So
10 people watching. So anybody we know
Oh,
watching?
yay.
yes.
Hi. Thanks for
So
joining.
thank you.
Yeah.
Wayne
Thanks
was
for joining in
obsession.
on this Oscars day.
Oh yeah. Hashtag it. We won't talk about
I
anyway.
could have said something else, but I was nice. Tatiana, I was nice.
We don't need to go off on that right now. So Wayne
Oh,
Book
boy.
Obsessions, aka WK Dowden, he
Oh,
says,
WK Dowd.
I thought the gym situations were the most realistic and most interesting to read, even more so than the big shocking events. And then Comfy Cozy Up Book said, I totally agree with you about Big Missy. Uh, and then Randall was the man she had to wait.
Yeah.
Wayne also said, I hate the way Marster got off so easily, idolized weirdly. Yeah, he was sort of like
A little
idolized.
bit idolized. I agree with that too. Yeah.
So
He
and
goes
then
out badly too. He
hey,
goes out like half crazy, gangrene.
Yes, he does. I don't think he
Pretty
was
dramatic.
half crazy.
Yeah.
he should have just gotten his leg or his foot, whatever. He should have just gotten that.
He could have just gotten it amputated. He didn't
No,
want to
but
be
he didn't want to.
seen.
He didn't want to be crippled.
He wanted
Yes,
to
he
die
didn't want to
a
be
painful
seen as
death.
crippled or at a deficit.
Well, because he was already at a deficit with Big Missy Selena as his wife. She was beating him down every 5 seconds. No, you're not gonna do that. No, you're not. Yeah.
And everybody
He was
knew
real
it.
beaten down then.
Mm.
Yeah, and everybody knew it, but he didn't know that everybody knew it.
Yeah. So Big Missy was your favorite character, right, Dee Dee?
No, this Missy Selena was not my favorite character. But,
No.
but I think that she was probably the most powerful in scenes because she does some pretty awful things that are described in total details and pretty awful.
Yeah.
But I would say I don't know exactly who my favorite character is at this point. It's kind of hard to say.
I kind of like Randall. Like I went back and forth on him, but
Yeah, I liked Randall. I was liking Randall in the. Well, actually, no, I didn't.
And
like
see,
him.
I was not a fan of Randall. I was not
I wasn't
a
either
fan
because
of the Whippoorwill
I
Booty
wasn't
Call.
either
you know
until
why? Because Randall was like a player
Yes.
in the beginning, and on top of it, I did not like the way he was looking at Vyrie.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
because Vyrie was only like 15 years old, and he was looking at her like, I
Mhm.
gotta have her. She gotta be my
Mhm.
wife and all this. I'm thinking, calm yourself down.
There's something wrong with this.
Yeah, I was like, come on now. And then he was so, he was so sure of himself, and he was so arrogant about his freedom. Like he
Yes.
almost couldn't even understand how she didn't understand all the consequences around her being a slave and him being free. Like he couldn't give it a chance to come up to his level.
But see, that's why I think I liked him the most because he was so flawed, but he was like the most thought out character.
Yeah, maybe. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now in that, yes.
Because
Yeah.
at least he had something. Like he made me mad, but then there's times that I agreed with him, and then I went back and forth, but at least I felt something.
Yeah.
Whereas
I agree.
Vyrie,
Yes.
sometimes I didn't feel anything for her. I was just sort of like,
No, I didn't feel anything for her either. Although I did feel some kind of way when he was like lusting off of her at 15 years old. Then I started feeling some kind of way for Vyrie.
yeah, that was
Vyrie, you better get on up out of there because I don't know about this dude. He looks like he's a player or something. And then when he told
But
her
the twisted side of that is if it hadn't been Randall and she hadn't been Marsha John's daughter, it would have been Marster.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
I was actually worried about that at one point. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, please no.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that happened too. Well, I mean, not sure. I know that happened. So, yeah, but I don't know. Randall was kind of. He was just.
He got better as the story went on. The beginning was not tops for me, but then he got better. As
he definitely had some
I started to understand his plight.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Ennis. I mean, I guess we could kind of talk about how she treated the men in the novel. Other than Randall, I feel like they all were kind of, they took a back seat, to the women, which could be a positive and a negative. I don't know. I kind of see it as a negative personally because I would have liked to know a little bit more about, like
I would
Ennis.
have liked to know more about Enos, because we
Yeah,
don't really know much about Enos.
At all.
Not
yeah.
really.
I mean, I
Other
think
than he was there in a pinch to save.
yeah, he
No, he
was.
tells a
save.
good-looking woman when he sees one.
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna stay here because she pretty.
I'm gonna stay here and protect this good-looking woman.
Like
But
he did
yeah,
take
I agree
care of
with
her
you that the
kids
men
for a
are
while. He
all
took care
fairly
of her kids.
flawed, but they're missing something. They're all missing something to a certain extent. Some
Yeah.
back, like
Yeah.
I would have liked to have more background on Randall,
Yeah, I would have too.
because being a free black man,
And
that's pretty
being a
cool.
free black man with capital, why you choose to
Exactly.
live in the South?
Yeah, he's
Why
got
is
land,
this
he's
where
got a
you
business.
decided to live?
I think all that was cool, but I would have liked to have
Horses
known
are
more
up
about
north.
him.
Yeah.
What about
Other people agreed with us about Randall. They liked Randall.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Who
at the
else?
end, I was on Randall's side more
There's
than.
somebody we haven't spoken about. What about brother Ezekiel?
Oh, another one that didn't get a lot of.
He didn't get a lot
No.
of attention.
He was
Yeah.
like in and out. We knew he was spying and
Oh yeah, I would have liked to know more about that. That was really
Yes.
it was really interesting. He was spying, but at the same time he could read and write and
but he had to pretend that he couldn't, right?
he couldn't. And
Yeah.
how did he learn how to read and write? He was a slave. All this is interesting and we don't know any background on
And we don't
brother.
know anything. We have no backstory on that information.
Yeah.
Make it. She
Yeah.
could have made it.
Yeah, but this is why I think what Danielle said in the beginning, that it would have been better if she just went fully fiction or went fully nonfiction.
Hmm.
Because
Right.
I mean, if she
Yeah.
wasn't
Hey,
saying something,
Troy, how
she
boo?
could have just made it up. Make it up.
Yeah, she could have just made it up. I think
Yep.
she obviously made up some things, but then it was like other things she refused to make up, and that actually
Yeah.
like was a detriment to her novel.
It didn't work to
So,
the story. Yeah, it didn't work really well for the novel.
yeah, and oh, another thing that kind of like this is why I wanted to know exactly how much was true because I felt like after or during Reconstruction, everything that happened to them was kind of like a checklist of what happened, what we know about in history. It was like, okay, they did a little bit of sharecropping, check, and they're gonna run into the KKK, check, they're gonna this,
Yeah.
and so I was like, did this all actually happen, or was this sort of like she wanted to show the
Yeah.
history or whatever? Because it felt like it made sense, in some ways, but it also felt like it was a little too on the nose with
Well,
what.
it felt very history-like because
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, all of the areas in the book where she talks about the political aspect and the condition of slavery, it's like reading a textbook at some points. I mean, she's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
goes into detail. At the end, it was like sermonish for me.
Oh
At the
yeah.
end, towards the end, I was like, "Whoa, okay, we get it, Randall. It's good, okay." It's not too much. It just seemed to be going on and on. It was like this big monologue at the end. I was like, wow, okay. Um, so I think that's why I'm thinking when she wrote this, it was more than just telling Virie's story.
Mm-hmm.
It's also making a serious call for a recognition of how horrible slavery really was and how twisted everything was and the difficulties that black people went through. That seemed like a more driving force or a parallel driving force through the story, alongside the fact that she was telling the story of an ancestor, because those were some of the best scenes, the best parts. And when she's talking about the political aspect, when she talks about the Civil War, when she gets into all those details,
Yeah.
like for anyone who doesn't know American history, you know, not so bad. I mean, they can get some, good insight, understanding of American history through this period. And I think that part of the book is fantastic.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why I think that's why I felt like it was most likely not what really happened. She just wanted to
Yeah.
get historical aspects in there. She wanted to show a little bit of sharecropping. She wanted to show,
Yeah.
the KKK, how it
The
got
KKK.
founded and how they tried to rule the South, basically, and a little bit of how the government was going to do something about it. And and then she had to get, of course, the Freedmen's Bureau. Oh, one thing that kind of bothered me, unless I missed it, like somehow it didn't click with me. What happened to those soldiers that were like helping them? That like
they just disappeared.
They disappeared.
They disappeared.
No, but there was. You remember there was that white man in the village. He was saying something about some black soldiers that they had beat up or something.
I don't think that was them though.
No, I don't think it was them particularly, but that kind of put a cloud on the fact that
there were two black soldiers who were just chilling in the town.
You weren't as secure with them as you could, as Byron was secure.
Yeah.
That they were going into areas that were risky.
Yeah, because he was talking about what was he? When he was in the desertion, when he went AWOL. And the soldiers that they sent to look for them and how they just killed them off. I'm like, you didn't give them an invite to go AWOL in the mountains with you? You should just say, hey. Because he never said that they were all black. He just said, whoever they sent after us, we killed right there in the mountains.
Yeah, oh, that guy was...
he was radical. Yeah.
He was a lovely guy.
So what did you guys think about the difference between Jim and Mina?
The difference between them, or the
like the way they were treated from both parents, and then just their personalities, the way they were fleshed out in the book. Because if you remember in the beginning when they were born, it said that Randall was immediately attracted and loved his son Jim.
Yeah.
For some reason he could never connect with her, and I always wondered what was that all about, because it was stated, and then it never really got talked about more. Although they kept saying that Mina had a lot of the same characteristics as Vyrie.
As her mother.
Yeah, and Jim was a lot like Randall.
Yeah. Again.
That's one of the things Jim said when he came back that annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of the whole absentee father thing, but when they were telling him about the issues that they were having with Jim, and he said, well, if you knew me, then you will understand. Don't nobody know you. Just don't know you.
I did that too. I was like,
oh my God, that's so funny.
I also thought, like, I don't know if I was wrong, but when he was like, I'm taking Jim, she's like, okay. I'm like, girl, what?
Yeah, I thought that was a bit fast.
Like, not even where were you?
Right.
Yeah, you just showed up. We don't even know who you are.
It was like 16, well, not 16 years, but it was, he was like 16, and he didn't even really remember his dad, like, at all. So
right.
Nobody was quite willing to get the hell on up out of there, though.
I probably would have done the same thing.
I probably would have been ready to go, too. And then I felt so bad for Mina.
I know.
I was like...
Actually, she was broken after that.
Yeah, and then, like, Vyrie was the one, she kind of, because she knew that Ennis, or how do you say his name? Ennis?
I said Ennis.
I say Ennis. Yeah. Because he was like dead set on Jim helping, and she knew that Jim had to help a little bit. She wanted, Mina to have somewhat of an education, and the book that she tried to read and stuff. So I was like, oh, Mina, she's gonna get an education too. But then it's like,
not with Ennis around.
Right.
That ain't gonna happen.
That's not happening with Ennis around. And then she didn't want to leave her mama. I can't leave my mama. I was like, oh.
Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah, that was probably the saddest part, towards the end, is the fact that Mina is left behind only because she can't bear leaving her mother, and the fact that because of that decision she may never get educated. It's just awful. And they're already verging on 1900s, They're not far off the 1800s by this point in the book,
No.
It's a little bit sad, that part.
Yeah.
I wish we would have known Mina and Jim a little bit better too.
A little bit more, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's missing in this book, is that, it would have helped to have some background on these people to make them.
Is Mina Margaret?
What is it?
We don't even know that. Is Mina Margaret?
Yeah.
The Margaret that Margaret Walker's named after.
Oh yeah, that was what I was wondering too. Like, who is
We
the...
don't even
I'm not sure. I don't know the background for that. Let me see if I can find
right,
some. Wait.
but Valerie is supposed to be Margaret Walker's great grandmother.
Yeah, that's what I understood it.
And she's named for one of Barry's children, Margaret. And we don't know if Mina is Margaret or if Margaret is in her belly when the story ends.
Yeah, I don't know. And then there's the other kid.
I was like, I'll at least get us partially to Margaret.
Yeah.
But what's the other kid's name? Henry.
Yeah. He was only like 4 at the end.
Yeah, he's a baby.
Yeah.
A baby. But I almost think that it would have been cool if she had it where if she wrote the book so it started with like her grandmother telling her the story and then like going into this. I don't know, I think that would have been kind of interesting too. Then we would have found out like how she was, factored in and but yeah, I mean, whatever. That's what she chose to do. That's what she chose to do. But I kind of wanted to know more about Margaret Walker, how she came about this information. And again, that's why I almost wish it was a nonfiction. So then we would have had all the information.
All of that information.
And I know she's written essays, and I almost want to get those just so I can find out because I have questions about some of this stuff. I think
that's the only books. Her essay books are the only books that are. There's more than one copy of in my city. How ridiculous is that?
But look, this is what I
have
found.
The only existing copy of Jubilee in my city.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, with the picture of Valerie that doesn't look like Valerie.
The picture of Valerie, yeah.
All right, this is what it says. I guess this is Wikipedia. It says, Walker's second published book and only novel, Jubilee, is a story of a slave family during and after the Civil War and is based on her great-grandmother's life. It took her 30 years to write. Roger Whitlow says it serves especially well as a response to white nostalgia fiction about the antebellum and Reconstruction South. This book is considered important in African-American literature, and Walker is an influential figure for younger authors. She was the first of a generation of women who started publishing more novels in the 1970s. What else do they say? Court cases in 1978. Margaret Walker sued Alex Haley, claiming that his novel Roots, the saga of an American family, had violated Jubilee's copyright by borrowing from her novel. The case was dismissed. Oops.
Wow.
That's all the way down here. Then,
oh my gosh.
Okay, then it says in 1991, Walker was sued by Ellen Wright, the widow of Richard Wright, on the grounds that Walker's use of unpublished letters in an unpublished journal in a just published biography of Wright violated the widow's copyright. Wright versus Warner Books was dismissed by the district court, and this judgment was supported by the appeals court. Wow, man, there's a lot of mess going on.
Lawsuits.
That's a lot of drama.
That's a lot of lawsuit, huh?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I knew Alex Haley had to have been inspired by her.
By Jubilee, yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I like that, it's a little bit different. Roots obviously goes into the present.
That's something different, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Interesting.
Oh, wow. I'll bring up.
I have to say, I absolutely loved when she talked about food. The way she talked about food, she knew how to write that description. I mean, I felt like you could almost smell it, like how descriptive it was. You could tell that her grandmother, either Margaret Walker knew how to cook or she had family members that really knew how to cook because the way she described her Virie's cooking and everything, it just felt
left you hungry.
Yeah, it was real. Like it was that was my favorite part. I was just like, I just loved it. It was so descriptive and wonderful.
There's a character we didn't talk about, Mr. Jacobson.
Jacobson.
That's when they lived in that town, and Valerie cooking and earning like $20 a week or a month or something.
Oh, who came and
And that's
got
when
them
they
the
first
money
did
when
the
they
Ku Klux
left.
Klan.
Yeah, I almost thought that they were that one of them was part, or not obviously not the woman, but that he was one of the Ku Kluxers, as they called them, that
Yeah.
that burned down the house. But then when he came back and gave him money, I was like, oh, I guess he wasn't.
Yeah.
Maybe the wife was and
Yeah.
the husband wasn't. I don't know. I didn't get that. I found that very strange.
She got so mad so
Oh
fast
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I didn't
because she
understand.
just wanted her another slave.
Well,
Hmm.
maybe now that I think about it, maybe she like sicked the KKK on them, and then Mr. Jacobson
Yeah.
found out and felt bad
Yeah.
and gave
Mhm.
them money. But
I
that,
guess it's like that,
I,
but we don't have enough. We don't have enough information, and then she tells that
Information.
part of the
Yeah.
story very cluck 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 like that. It's not in detail. It's just like one event after the other. It's not flushed out properly.
yeah, that's
So we
another thing that I felt like probably. I almost feel like the things that weren't fleshed out were probably the things that were oral tradition that she felt she needed to put in there, because
yeah
it's like she just kind of threw it in and then went about her business, you know.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
I that was interesting. I didn't really know what to make of it. Like I didn't understand other than the Jacobson
Excuse me.
Yeah, but
who.
even then, you see the first little signs of Viri being a little bit, oh, those black folks aren't good.
Oh yeah,
They're
that
not good
bothered me.
black
I didn't
folks.
like
Yeah.
that. Like she got.
They parading around and they drinking and carousing, and going with women and then that woman gets pulled out of her house, tarred and
And
feathered.
tarred and
That was
feathered.
so.
Oh my God!
Y'all,
And
I
she
didn't know
described it
what
like if they
tarred and
take the
feathered
tar off,
was.
she will be, they'll pull all her skin off. The woman is just
I
a
know.
mess.
I didn't know what tarred and feathered really was. Like to hear people say that, I didn't have
For
an
real.
understanding
That's what
of
it
what it
was.
really was.
Yeah, now you got it.
I got it.
Yeah.
It's ew.
You got
I
it.
don't like it. I
Mm-mm.
got
No,
it.
I ain't like it either. And then the thing is, do you not remember what Viri said? I think they said, oh, they say she goes with white men's. And then she says, well, what they say to the white men's?
Oh yeah,
Nothing.
You go, Viri.
Not a blessed
that was funny.
thing.
It was like,
Well, what they say to the white men's? It's not just her. What about
Not a
them?
blessed thing.
yeah,
Um,
she, yeah.
every now and then she had some good one-liners. Every now and then. Every now and then.
That I will brain you right here in this
Oh,
kitchen
that was so
Yeah,
bad.
was
break you.
that was tops.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
but
tops.
did you hear what Enos said? His was even more. Did you hear what his
You done
little
lost
thing?
your mind. Did he say tell her she done lost her mind?
He
Yeah.
didn't tell her she had lost her mind and some other stuff. It was
Well, and then he
they were
threatened to
going at
hit
each
Mina.
other
I
for
was
that one.
like, oh, you are not going to hit Mina. If you hit Mina.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she jumped in front of them. Wait, let's see if I can find that part because it's pretty funny. Um,
Uh,
I can't remember which chapter it is.
it's
It's towards the end.
chapter 55. Here it is. Do it in this brown and I'll brain you with this here skillet. If you hit some one more time, okay, well, woman, is you out of your mind? Or is you just now losing your senses?
He's not playing either.
Are you out of your mind? Are you
Yeah,
just losing it?
exactly.
Because it's one or the other.
Yeah. Oh no, but he says some really harsh stuff to her on those pages.
But he was on, and this is the first time too that we get to see him assert himself. We get to
Yeah.
see who he feels that he is as a free man and the importance of that. Granted, after he done beat the skin off of Jim,
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
but
also finds out, his feelings about, like, it was never talked about that he took on the responsibility of her children and
Mhm.
raised them as his own, pretty much. Like you never really heard about that, and then finally kind of comes out how he's like, I did this, I didn't have to.
Right.
But
And how
well,
well
actually
he
gave him a
knows her.
right.
He read her mind.
Mhm.
How
Yeah.
he read her mind from start to finish of what she thought about him, what she thought for them kids, and what she
Yeah.
was and wasn't gonna do.
Yep.
Mhm. But it's interesting what he says. He says, "You Gwen run me, and your children's run me too. And I ain't nothing but an ignorant field hand. What you despise is you ain't been the same no
Mhm.
how since that there fire. But if you is swallowing me for a fool, you is Gwen belch up some sense. And if you burns me for one, you is Gwen lose your ashes. That's all I got to say."
He read her for filth, and then also Randall, when he came back, he kind of gave it to her too about how she, like, one part that made me laugh was when she was like, "Miss Lillian," he's like, "Miss Lillian, see how you talk about her?" Like, about how he was too nice, she was too nice to white people, and I
Yeah.
mean, and that she kind of favored white people, and I kind of felt that a couple times, so I don't think he was all the way wrong with that. But he also, like you said, Dee Dee, he thought a little highly of himself too, so
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah.
takes one to know one. Uh, you know.
He was tripping hard on this one, Enos, because he said, "I'm just as much a man as you as a woman, and I wants to tell you now, if you thinks they going to run me and do like they please, while she was planning and holding them up in their devilment, you think like Parker dreamt. He dreamt he farted and he shit." You go, Enos. You tell him.
I put the book down after I read that. I had to
He just
sit
went
down for a
off on
second.
those 2 pages of Enos. He had to vent Enos. And I felt for him on those pages because you could feel for the first time he realized that his wife had some type of prejudice against him because of his
Mhm.
color and because his station as a field slave. And
Mm-hmm.
that came out very, very, it's like it was like the volcano that was exploding. Like
Mm-hmm.
he'd been holding all that in the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
While at the same
Yep.
time he's loving this woman, taking care of her, taking care of her kids, but at the same time him feeling that she has some kind of judgment against him because he happens to be dark skinned and worked in the fields kind of thing. And so I kind of like I fully got on board with him going, kind of yelling out his
Frustration.
yeah, his frustrations of the situation. Although I didn't agree with him, pulling the switch on the kid. That was a little bit
No,
too
I didn't
much.
agree with that either, but I did agree with him, like, kind of saying how he felt. And then also, something kind of interesting. I liked how, I don't know if this was supposed to be like Viry did this or I don't know, but how come Randall Ware and Ennis Brown were both like, they always were named like their full name? You notice
That is
that?
a very good question. I
Hmm.
wondered that too. Danielle. I was like, okay, this.
Like, it was never
When
Randall, it
y'all
was
in bed,
Randall
do you
Ware.
say, "Oh, Ennis Brown" or just Ennis?
I know! Like, is that what do you, Randall Ware, Randall, like, no Randall, just Randall Ware. Like,
Randall Ware. Well, we did have his full name once.
his middle name too?
His full name is Randall Wheelwright. No,
Oh, that's right, because Wheelwright was the white guy who set him
was
free, isn't
the
it? Because
abolitionist.
that he
Yeah,
was the guy who came to buy
yeah.
Bowery.
So I think that's where he gets the Randall part from. Is from Randall Wheelwright, the Wheelwright, the
Hmm.
abolitionist.
Hmm.
But we don't know that much else, which is a little bit of a shame.
Yes. I still want to know how he just settled in the South.
Yeah, I would love that because that would have made a really good part of the story. That would have made something very interesting to read about.
Yeah.
But I guess she didn't know how to invent or whatever over that part. Didn't know how to do it.
Hmm.
Did we talk about everybody?
Well, we didn't really talk about,
Oh, we didn't talk about Fanny Crenshaw.
oh, Little John.
That's the girl who
Little
came
John.
over.
Not
She
Little
was
John.
trying to court Johnny when he came back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his girl. Right?
Whole thing.
Yeah, poor thing.
Oh.
Well, because you that Fanny Crenshaw, I had the impression that Fanny Crenshaw was sort of like slightly tomboyish. That she was just a friend of his, and then suddenly she started catching some feelings or something.
Catching some feelings, yeah.
Yeah, and suddenly she was trying to make herself look not so tomboyish anymore, and started, trying to look for a husband, kind of thing.
He could be my boo.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He died.
But she kind of has sort of like the what do you call it? The Gone with the Wind kind of feel to her, because that's what it came off as, a little Scarlett O'Hara.
Yeah, it was a little too much, I thought.
Yeah, but it was like a rough diamond, Scarlett O'Hara.
Yeah,
for me. Because she didn't seem to be like the prim proper girl. I mean, this girl rides horses normally. She ain't doing no side saddle.
Right, she no side saddle. No side saddle.
She has the crop, and everything. She's getting in there kind of thing. So she kind of came off as a little rough diamond, but like suddenly started catching feelings about this guy, and was like, oh, I'm gonna marry him, and I'm thinking.
And that's that absence makes the heart will find her.
I guess so.
When in thinking about her, I actually thought about how one of the things that they said, and y'all, I suck at history, so the way that I get it is through reading stuff. But one of the things that I heard said over and over again is that they didn't think the Northerners or Southerners back then didn't think that the Civil War was going to last as long as it lasted. They thought it was going to be like a little 2-week long situation, and everybody was going to go home. Yes, people were going to die, but it wasn't going to be as bad as it was.
Yeah.
And I think for her, when she came and she saw that Johnny was injured, and it's like that long lasting effect, and it's that, wait, this wasn't supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody was prepared for it to be what it was, and for it to last as long as it did.
You see, she historically, talks about, all those starving people all over the South.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Virey and Ennis and the kids wind up, I can't remember, somewhere in Alabama, and they have all these white people, and they look like they hadn't eaten in 3 weeks or a month.
Mm-hmm. That's because they don't know how to do nothing. They can't plant. They don't know how to farm.
But they sure tell them how to farm.
Workers have been dispatched.
Those poor white people were all like, "What's wrong with them? Are we gonna starve too here?"
No, because you know how to plant shit. You good.
Yeah. But that was another thing. There was nothing Virey couldn't do.
Yes.
Oh yeah, she was a little.
She could cook, she could clean, she could sew, she could spin. She
could go in the. Everything. I wish that they had shown when she was taught about the herbs and things in the forest near the plantation.
Yeah, that would have
been. Mama Suki would take her to go gather things. I wish that she had, because it's like Mama Suki, or no, not Mama Suki. Who was
Aunt
it?
Sally.
Mama Sally.
Yeah, Aunt Sally
got sold, and now you're thrust into this position, and we don't know that you know everything you need to know until you get questioned because they think your ass might be running away.
Yeah.
And then we find out, oh my gosh, she has all of this knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they wanted to make sure she wasn't going to poison them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Because she was getting the herbs and stuff, and they were like, well, what does this do?
Right near the poisonous mushrooms.
Okay. Did we talk about gosh. Now I can't think of their names. Selena's, was it her sister or the people that took care of Miss Lillian? Susan.
Yeah.
Susan and
Lucy.
Lucy and something. I can't remember. No, Lucy is.
Where the hell I get Fran from?
I know they're porters.
The ones that live in.
Yeah.
In the county that's near them.
Yeah, and then
What did you think about them? Because it's true, they were kind of. I was like, really? I don't know. I didn't
No,
feel like I believed those characters very well. I mean,
it
all
was
those white people over there hated black people.
Yeah,
So I was thinking, well,
I
what is so different about these white people that
yeah,
they
I
would
didn't
act?
I didn't find that believable either.
Oh,
And
not at all.
especially even more so when they were leaving
Yeah,
and she told her, you can help yourself to whatever, whatever you can take
yeah,
this in the house because we can't take it all.
yeah.
oh, I was like,
Really? Yeah, I didn't believe that either. Just
yeah.
like I didn't
Yeah.
believe the white people that came and helped them build their house
I
in
know.
the
2 seconds before that,
Uh,
you were saying
right there, that's when I checked. I
tails.
checked out on the train. I was like, no,
Right. You got
Yeah,
no.
tails.
that
Y'all,
didn't make
y'all black men
any
got tails
sense.
and they will come and rape you and all this, that, and the
They
third.
were
And,
like, "Oh,
oh,
women,"
but you can
but yet
birth
they all bring
babies.
their tools.
But oh, we'll help you build a house.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we think you're a rapist, but we'll build your house for you. And then if you become the man,
Right.
and Randall was right about that. He said, well, what do they want from you? And she didn't want to be like, oh, well, yeah, I
They want
helped
me to
out
be
with
the
Right.
local midwife.
She didn't want to say that they were getting help for services rendered, basically. She
yeah,
didn't want
Yeah.
to have to say that.
yeah. So, but I did think that like that quick turn, and how like that when she says to her husband like they don't have tails or whatever, and he's like embarrassed by that. I thought he wouldn't
Yeah,
be
like, why did you
embarrassed.
lie to me?
Yeah,
Yeah. Why did you
he
lie
was
to
like,
me?
oh, this is private talk. Like, I don't understand why he was.
I can
Yeah,
just
I
tell
didn't
you,
see that
keep it shit
being
in
the real
private.
conversation either.
Yeah, that was very odd. Like, and she kind of like accepted it really quickly. I don't know. I don't know if that was supposed to be uh, that she was trying to show that her color put people at ease or whatever. I still don't.
I didn't like any of
Oh, I'm
that
sure I'm
stuff
sure
because I
that's
thought
I'm
it
sure
was
that's part
peculiar.
of it.
But I still feel like they would have felt more upset because she was I almost felt like they would have been more upset
Hmm.
because they'd be
Yeah,
like,
And
that's what I
and
oh, you
thought
were
thought that
trying
she
to
was
hide.
hiding her identity and who she
Yeah,
really was. Yep, I agree.
yeah. So that was the one thing that
And
really.
she would have been
I mean,
tarred as feathers.
obviously, because people that passed would like cut off ties with their families, and it was like
exactly.
Hmm.
really dangerous to tell anybody where you came from or anything. So I don't think
Because
that
it's a death risk.
I
yeah,
think that's the part of the novel I don't like is some of the ambiguity in some of the scenes that she writes. I don't understand why she didn't try to do better on
Do
that.
more.
Yeah, because I mean, she takes so much care to write all of the historical side of the novel, but
yeah,
yet she can't be bothered to clean up the scenes like that, which are literally impossible that they could have happened like
Hmm.
that. It's kind of
mm,
obvious. She paints the situation. She tells us these white people are saying that black men have tails and want to rape their women. So you're thinking, and they want to help build their house? Really?
Right.
What did you feed them something before they decided to do that? I mean,
yeah, and
that ambiguity is just
it
too much
wasn't
for
like it
me.
was just that family. It was a bunch of people, and those are the same people. I mean,
Who
that
she heard talking about
Yeah,
yeah, and they were
talking about
saying
black folk and killing black folk and participating in KKK activity the whole time, the whole
exactly.
2-3 weeks before.
Yeah, but
yeah,
she
and
still
they're
puts
like,
those
oh,
eggs in that salad and all the rest of that crap. She was still forking that off at the local village. Like, okay, I'm gonna fork it because
Yeah.
I can. Nobody knows I'm black. I'm going to make money off these people. I don't know. I think if I was her, I would have a hard time doing something like that. I don't think I would do it. I'd be like, no, I don't want to be here with these people. I don't know what they're going to do. They might pounce on me or something. And, but no, she keeps going
yeah.
back and
Oh,
hearing this stuff. And
Wayne just pointed out the fact that Viry told them where she lived.
Where they lived.
And
Hmm.
that's like funny because she
exactly.
was so paranoid after the fire that why would
Exactly.
she do that?
I
Um,
don't know. I
yeah,
don't know why she would do that.
that was very
It was
bizarre.
weird and it was sudden.
It was I know I was like, bam, we're helping.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
you can't say no. You're gonna stay here and be the granny, aka Mammy. And it was like,
Mammy. Yeah. AKA
yeah,
Mammy.
and I don't know. It was a little too much for me. I
Yeah,
thought
it
that
was. Because she'd already done that once already, told somebody where they lived. I think it
And
was,
then they came home
and he's
and
like,
the
"Oh
house was
yeah, you
on
live in
fire.
there? Good. Your ass is gonna drown." You know.
Yeah, it's
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And in the same line of that with the whole issue of Barry's color, when they went to the store, the first time when Ennis went to the store in one of the towns that they went to in Troy,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
wasn't sold anything, and then when they went back and went with
They
Barry,
got
and
everything. Yeah.
Ennis's reaction to the realization that they thought she was white
Was
and they
right.
thought he
Yeah.
was her boy.
yeah.
Ennis's
Yeah, but
reaction
it was
versus
her
Barry's
reaction.
reaction.
It was her reaction was like, "Well, I don't care what those white people think about me."
Right. And she
But
was
she
she was
didn't
a
get
little
it.
upset. She was upset that they thought she was white.
Yeah.
But I feel like she
Well, I
kind of took
didn't
advantage
see,
of
I
that.
didn't
Like,
see her trying to correct him.
yeah,
I
she
didn't see
never
her trying to correct him.
she only corrected them like
Exactly.
after she had enough of it, you know. After she only decided to correct him when it was the woman that she helped give birth.
Yeah, help him with the baby. Yeah.
And that was like almost out of
Mhm.
just frustration. I'm tired of hearing it. So
I'm
that's
trying to hear about black men with tails. Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
tired of hearing about it. I'm gonna correct you and then tell you where I live.
Just in case you want to kill
Hope the
me.
KKK doesn't show up and burn me out of my house again. Out of my tent. Hope the KKK doesn't burn me out of my tent.
Out of my tent.
Oh my God.
Oh, the ambiguity of it all is too much for me. It's too much for me. The ambiguity.
It was just,
Oh my goodness. Let's see. I think we talked about almost everybody. Have you got any questions?
do either of us or the people in the.
No, from people that are watching. There are 11 people watching. Hello.
Hi.
I think. Sorry. Anyway,
Russ.
Russ is. He like took a
Hi,
picture.
Russ.
Dee says hi. My husband is. Says
Hello.
hi, everybody. Get. We're still on, so.
Am I allowed to say hello?
Anyway.
Guess not.
Okay, so I think we did talk about pretty much everything.
Does anyone have any questions they want to ask?
Oh wait, I didn't look. Sorry, let me look. My man got me distracted. Oh, that's cool. Michael Reed said that the book actually takes
wow.
near my county, and I knew some of the places they referenced.
Oh, that's cool.
That is super cool.
Michael, you need to do a video on that then. Do a video on that, Michael. That
Why
could
do
be
you read so much? You read like 5,000 books every week. I don't know how you do that. I'm like jealous. I was sitting there like, wow, is he doing that? We kind of talked about this, but I really did enjoy the historical aspects. He said he's not going to Lee County.
Not going to Lee County.
Lee County.
Yeah, no joke. No joke.
But the historical aspect, the historical parts are really interesting. Like,
Yeah.
particularly how she made sure to let you know that the South was all talk, but most of the men deserted when they had a chance. She wanted to make sure you knew about that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was. I didn't even think about that, Danielle. That was interesting.
True. Yeah.
I think that's like the most fascinating thing about the South at that time period was like they were all talk, and then when they actually had to fight, they left because
whatever happened to the Confederate species? How about that? They got all this.
The joke about the Confederate.
Got there.
Well, they seem to be alive well today, Tatiana. They seem to be, saying how great the Confederacy was and all that, So.
Yeah, they forget about the dessert, the money, and the dessert.
Yeah, the lack of money, the lack of food, the lack of everything. I mean,
everything.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. I kind of like that because it was. I mean, it's true. It's what happened. I mean, she even had the real speech in there. So,
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
She was heavy on speeches in this one, though. Heavy on speeches.
Oh,
Big
I know.
time.
Everyone had a speech.
Big time. Big time.
Oh, I also like. I don't know why. I guess I was stupid for thinking this, but I wanted to, for some reason, since you had everyone else reunite, I wanted to have her reunite with Aunt Sally. But right, she didn't die, did she?
Oh, yeah.
No,
We don't
Aunt
know.
Sally got sold.
Well, yeah, she got sold,
Yeah,
but
she got sold because she was singing sad songs.
Singing sad songs and depressing
And so they
big
were scared that she was gonna poison her.
I know, but
Yeah.
I really
Nikki
liked
Selena
I
didn't like
liked
that
her
scene.
so
It was making her
much.
nervous.
I just wanted because she had everyone else reunite. We had to find out. We like had everyone else's stories kind of wrap up, but then we never found out what happened to her. And I was just like, well. And then but she went to Louisiana, right?
And she was very fiery, though, Aunt Sally.
Yeah, I liked her.
She was already, she was already feeling, because she was taking Viry to the church where Brother Ezekiel was preaching.
Yeah.
And they were obviously using it as a way to inform people about the Underground Railroad and to talk about, blacks maybe becoming free. So she was already kind of fiery, and they would probably felt that fieriness, and that's why they got rid of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there's somebody else.
I like that. Go ahead.
The slave that was kind of simple.
Oh.
What was his name?
I can't remember.
I can't remember what his name is. I think I forgot to remember.
The letter, or he carried the 2 notes, and it's obvious that he accidentally gave the guy.
And that he's mixed one up.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I saw that coming.
I know. I
was like, why is she sending him out there? He gonna mess this up, and he did.
But because he was also not going to tell anybody, like it wasn't going to slip, or he was like loyal to her or whatever. So I don't know. I can't remember his name, but
I can't either. I'm looking for it.
Named 2 characters the same name, which got me confused for a second. Well, it didn't confuse me, but I was like, why did she do that?
Jim and Houseboy Jim.
Yeah, Jim and Jim.
Yeah.
And she didn't say she named
That's it
after Jim. Jim was just very popular name, I guess. So.
Yeah.
And then there was also the slave that brought Johnny back from the war.
Wasn't that Houseboy Jim?
Yeah, wait, wasn't that?
Yeah, that was Houseboy Jim. That had brought Johnny back. Yeah.
Oh, what about the guy who died?
He was really lucky to be able to get him back alive.
Yeah, and there was a guy who died trying to bring Master John home.
Oh yeah.
But I don't remember his name.
No,
I don't remember his name either.
Yeah, but you see, those were the characters that were just sort of like facilitators of the story.
Yeah, right.
You don't have it. Yeah, I call it a facilitator. It facilitates a scene, and then afterwards you don't see them again. You don't know what's happened to them or anything.
Yeah, who was the?
Oh, let's talk about the branding of Melaza.
Oh, that was gruesome.
That was awful.
That was horrible.
That was gruesome.
Mm-mm.
That was gruesome. And
I could hear it, like, as she was describing her screams. It's like it was in my ear.
Her name was Lucy. The slave that got branded. I think her name was Lucy, because it was Lucy, Colleen, and Melaza.
Another Lucy. She had 2 Lucys.
Yeah. I think it's Lucy, the one that got branded.
Yeah,
and then also, how do you like about the change of Ed Grimes? How he suddenly didn't got with a rich lady.
Oh, Ed Grimes, he was the worst character.
He was an ass.
To say
he was pretty gruesome.
He was very gruesome, and the turn of him becoming part of the KKK and part of the party that beat Randall Ware it all fit for the character that he had. But he is the depiction of what you think when you think overseer. He was the depiction of that, of what you get in your head when you think overseer.
But don't you love how fast his wife died and how he got with another woman so quick?
Oh, I know. He was done.
Well, you know, they got needs.
And Ed Grimes together. Big Missy and Ed Grimes together were like the match.
They could have had something going. Those two, they were so nasty and Machiavellic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, it's like exactly the two you didn't want to, like, team up against you, and of course.
And then I think she talked to Ed Grimes more than she talked to her own husband.
Yes.
I'm surprised there wasn't hit.
Yeah.
Because it was already insinuated in the beginning that Master John was going off, doing his politics, and he was going to New Orleans all the time. And you remember they had said something about him going to New Orleans and maybe even having like, little flings with mulattoes, things over there.
He didn't want to. No, none of them. But he said none of them lived up to.
And you know what I thought about when I was reading that? I'm sorry, Danielle.
Oh, that's okay. No, go ahead.
I thought about Winch when I was reading that.
So did I. I thought about that as well. You guys haven't read Winch?
Yeah.
Read that. That'll trip you out. Winch will trip you out.
Yes, it will.
Troy Tao wants us to. We should talk a little bit more about Lucy. He asked if we didn't really talk about her, so we should.
No, we just talked about her getting branded. I was looking for the Simple Boy's name. They just called him the Simple Boy.
Yeah. I don't know his name. And then Comfy Cozy Up Books said.
But they didn't give him a name.
Yeah. She thought it was interesting how, like, the squatters' rights, that was okay. I thought that was interesting, too.
Yeah.
So Lucy, I actually, I don't know, I felt like kind of, when Lucy left, it was like it was like sad, but also felt like such a positive thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was, because at least she tried. She tried
over and over again, and I kept saying, Lord, honey, if they catch you this time, they're going to kill you.
They're going to kill you.
I know.
Don't get caught.
Don't get caught. Don't get got.
The best thing that she could have done was got sick. We don't know if she was really sick or not.
No.
But those 2 days where they thought she was sick was her saving grace.
Yeah. Because remember they took all the black people to the town so they could hear them scare the shit out of them about escaping and stuff, and so that was her way home, her way to freedom.
Yeah.
That was those chapters were hard.
They were gruesome. Brutal. That branding scene is just awful, and the scene where they beat Byron. Okay.
Oh.
You know the thing that got me? Did you not remember that part where when she's going through the healing process, and then they describe that she has like
a welt that comes across her chest,
like on the side of her breast where the skin healed, sticking out,
never closed, never healed.
That detail was bam! It was like the killer detail. It was just perfect.
Yeah.
The way she described all that was just perfect, but it was gruesome. I mean,
gruesome.
I did find it, going kind of towards the end again, I did find it slightly unbelievable that Ennis never saw.
They didn't know?
That was bizarre to me.
Yeah, I thought so.
I mean, I understand they may obviously probably only did it at night, but still, I mean, still you could feel.
Maybe he didn't care.
Only did it at night, and missionary.
That's true.
Yeah.
And maybe she just took her dress.
You can get, but if she has this flapping scar on her breast, you've seen her nurse.
And it sticks out.
Yeah.
Ew.
You've seen her nurse. You've never said wife. What is that?
I know. And he would have known exactly what it was. He would have known because he'd seen it. He knew what that was.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like weird. Like I didn't know that they didn't know. So when they were like surprised by it, I was like, wait, they don't know.
I was like, where have y'all been?
Exactly. Have you been on the same story as us?
But that was really gruesome, and that's why.
I could understand Randall not knowing because he had seen her.
Yeah.
Since before that happened, but Ennis, you done been with her. You brought Henry out of her. You have seen
two kids.
The up close and personal.
Mm-hmm.
One that survived, the other one that died.
The one that died, yeah. You've seen the innards and outers.
Yeah.
You missed that?
I thought it was odd. It felt like kind of weird, like again tacked on, just sort of like.
By the way, but that's those I don't know, those little bits that are just it's like I don't know who edited her book, but they must have not read it like us. I don't know. They
Right.
thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Because there are a lot of scenes that she could have gone further with them, or that she needed to explain, or things that they don't correlate because it's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
And and I guess they thought, because that's why I'm thinking that the agenda was to really talk about slavery and the political and social implications and things like that was much more important in her mind. Secondly, in her mind was telling her ancestor story, but she didn't go far enough on the fiction part, because there's things that she just completely just didn't treat, or just didn't want to go into for some. It's almost like she felt like if I go into this, then my book is going to be like 1,000 pages long.
Mm.
You see,
and that's nothing today. But this is
it already is a size book, okay?
Yeah.
But and it
That's
seems like
nothing
that.
today, but that would have been considered then.
A little much. Well, I mean, they had. Well, yeah, I guess it was sort of like that time period. Shorter books were being released more often.
Mhm.
It wasn't like in the 1800s they had these books that were this big, you know. But
Do you guys think this could be made into a movie?
it could be, but I don't know what it would bring that Roots hasn't. And
That
like,
Roots hasn't already done. Yeah, I don't
Right,
think that.
yeah.
I don't know what benefit it would bring, or what new it would bring to the scene as a slave movie.
Yeah,
But
I
then
agree, yeah.
again, I don't understand why Roots is being redone. So
Exactly. Like the TV movie.
How many slave
Don't
movies?
you remember watching it, Tatiana?
Yeah.
Watching it? Roots, the show, TV show.
The show.
Yeah, the show.
Yeah,
Now
I mean,
they're doing
for 2
the
days.
show again, right?
Everybody was
For
watching
2
that show.
days.
Black people, white people, Asian people. Everybody was. They were going home in the evening, having their dinner, and they were in front of Roots.
Yes.
So I don't know.
And
like,
it was a big thing for me, because I couldn't watch TV during the week. So we had one TV in the house.
Yeah.
So it was, we all watching this, and I was like, why? But yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You're probably right. They don't. I mean, I don't know if it would make such a good movie. I wouldn't think it would make an impact like Roots made.
Yeah, and
No,
I
don't think the new Roots is gonna make the impact
Oh,
that
it's not.
Roots made
No.
back then. I don't think they're gonna have the viewership that they had then,
Yeah.
in comparison to the times then and the times now.
Well, did you guys see the Book of Negroes?
I haven't read the book, so I didn't watch.
I haven't read the book.
I haven't
either.
read the book yet, so I haven't watched it.
Say
It's
that
on my
the
DVR.
adaptation was pretty good for the Book of Negroes. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't know. Has anybody
That's
else?
what I saw pretty much on Facebook
Negroes,
and Twitter. But
adaptation.
Say it again.
Yeah. Are there any more questions, Danielle?
I was just so I'll kind of go back.
Yeah, somebody made a comment I saw about the songs at the heading of each chapter, that they liked how the spirituals were done at the heading of each chapter.
They said some people. Okay, Troy Tao was proud of Lucy for escaping. Michael said when they used the salt on her wounds, that was.
Oh yeah, that is. Ugh. Yeah.
And then,
but isn't that part of what they did to keep it from getting infected, though?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's salt. It hurts like hell, so it's more punishment. But it's to keep them from getting infected too, I thought.
Oh yeah, because they didn't want. Of course, they didn't want you to die.
Yeah, because right, you're gonna suffer for what you did, but you're gonna heal, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No infection.
Well, you had that scene. You had that scene in Roots.
Oh yeah.
The scene. Yeah. And then what did you say? Freeform lady said something.
She said
the Freeform lady
was the hanging scene was too much. And then she says she's seen actual hanging advertisements in newspapers from that time. Yeah. Oh yeah, they made like a day of it. I mean, that was and way after that too,
Yeah. And those pictures.
Oh yeah, and they're like smiling, having anyway. Let's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael wanted to know if we're gonna watch the new Roots remake, which we kind of touched on that, I guess.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably
I don't
not.
really care. I saw the real one. The real one is good. The original is good.
Yes.
Watch the original. It's got everything in there. It's good.
Plus, I'm kind of sick of just seeing slave films.
Yeah.
Slave movies.
Yeah.
We have more to our story than slavery.
Exactly.
Slavery. I agree.
That's why I have trouble reading books about slavery, because it's just like so. You can't. I don't know. You have to be heartless to read it and not be touched, and it's like
and not be affected by it.
Yeah, it's hard to get through it. Like I have found times where I'm like, I can't read anymore because, especially towards the beginning when all this stuff was happening, it's like I was only reading like a chapter or two at a time because it was too much. It gets, hurts you, you feel, I don't know, just it's emotional.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was an interesting experience reading it.
Yeah.
Next time
I'm glad I read it.
We're gonna do something a little bit happier though.
Yeah. But I am glad I read it, even though it's not as good as I wanted. Like, I got a much better experience out of reading Some Sing, Some Cry. I felt like that is like a very good historical fiction, and you have the character development is fantastic. You really start to fall in love with some of these characters, and you really start to understand that. And then you have the African American music from Negro spirituals all the way to the 1970s, and you're just thinking, wow, it's just so full of life. Whereas this one it's so like long speeches, a lot of politics and history, and then you're left with wonder for some scenes that you just can't see how that could be true. Just no way.
Right.
Yeah. It's like what? No.
And I when I was reading this, I kept having to catch myself because I was comparing it to Cane River by Lolita Tati, which I loved. And
I'm gonna have to read that one.
and that's what I was thinking too, Danielle, when you were talking about her doing it, making the decision to do either make it historical fact or make it a fiction novel. And that's more of what Lolita Tati did with Cane River, and it made it a lot more enjoyable.
So where did she go, the fictional route?
She went the fictional route. She took the characteristics and a little bit of the stories that she'd heard about her. I think for her, it's her great ×5 grandmother. And she took some of the stories that have been passed down and some of the characteristics that she'd heard about her and based this fictional novel around that. But it was not strictly her story.
Okay. Because her family, they were supposed to be quadroons, weren't they? Is it or mulattoes or both?
Mulattoes.
Mulattoes
and a couple of quadroons, but mulattoes mostly. Yeah.
Okay, any more questions?
I don't see any. Comfy Cozy Up Book said yes, Some Sing, Some Cry was awesome.
I
have to read that. I still haven't read that.
No questions. If you guys have any questions, let us know, or other general comments.
Or statements or anything.
Trying to think if I had anything else to say.
So what are you rating the book, Tatiana?
I rated it at 4. At 4 stars. I enjoyed the historical parts of it. And the same parts that you all found comical, the passing of Marster's family, just boom, 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 boom. I found those comical as well. But I gave it 4 stars because for what I think it accomplished the purpose of what it was supposed to be, of what Walker wanted it to be, with it being Barry's story. There were some issues, again, the same thing Danielle said about the historic pick a side, basically. But for the detail that was in here from the speeches, which were really great to have for the historical part of it, the detail in the hanging, the detail in Barry's beating, the detail with Lucy, and the things that went on in the house with her, that made it 4 stars for me.
Okay. Wait, hold up your book again so everybody can see what Valerie looks like on your book. We can all have a good laugh about it.
This chocolate
Yes,
Valerie.
yes, this is Valerie. This is obviously the 1970s edition. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the Valerie on ours is just
the
like,
one that I
Yeah, we
purchased
just
will
have
not be
Valerie.
this
She
cover.
looks a little beige on the cover, but she's like drawn on, so.
yeah.
Yeah. The one that I purchased will not be this edition. It was just going to take me too long to get it through Amazon for the readathon.
Well, the problem
read
is,
along.
that's another thing I want to talk about is the fact that this book is so hard for people sometimes to pick up.
And yet it says it sold over 1 million copies. It was super popular. And
Yes, this is the only copy in my city. I live in the
yes, and
capital of the
that is wrong.
Confederacy. This is the
That's
only
wrong.
copy of my city in my city.
Um,
It's crazy.
I think it's crazy, and I think it's mostly because this book hasn't been re-released again.
yeah.
Since God only knows when. When is yours? When is yours copied for, Tatiana? Is it 70 something?
Hold on, let me filter through these deckled looking edges that didn't start out that way. This one is this one says 66, but there's no way. I think this is 83.
83. Okay, well you see,
Unless that page is missing.
They haven't done that many editions because I've only seen this edition. I've seen Tatiana's edition, and the only other edition I've seen is a hardcover edition. But every time I see it, it never has a dust jacket on it. And
okay.
And I find it very funny that a lot of people couldn't even find it in their libraries. A lot of people, and it's not even on ebook. Come on now.
No, it's not. I searched 3 districts, and in pieces of the book, pieces of the pages. This is why they're deckled, are falling off of my dress. This is so weathered. It's ridiculous.
No, I have to thumbs down on that the published company hasn't even put it on ebook. That's like a major thumbs down. That's a problem. I feel compelled to write them, the company, and say, what's up with you guys? What are you asleep or something? No, they have to put that out there. It's not normal.
Yeah, other people are saying they're.
Oh, Michael Reed said his library only has one. His system only had 1 copy too.
Some people didn't have any copies.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Michael said he's from the South. That was the first time he ever heard of the novel. I thought that was it's so weird because I've noticed that too. Like this says it sold over 1 million copies. It was.
I've never heard of it before.
And then that was like the same thing with The Street by Ann Petrie. Like that was it was like the first book by a Black woman that went to the bestsellers list, sold over 1 million copies, and yet people don't know.
I've never heard of that.
And I'm like, what happened?
Before you did your review on that.
Yeah, it's like
ridiculous.
So weird.
That I think is a problem, and that has to be rectified.
Because what happens? They pick their chosen few novels to keep, like Their Eyes Were Watching God, and a few other older novels, and that's what they keep pushing. But then everyone else gets like thrown to the side, even if they are super popular.
Which I think is a shame because I've always known about this novel, but I've always said, oh yeah, I'm gonna read it. And then my husband read it in French 7 years ago, and he was like, oh my God, you have to read that. It's so good. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not reading it in French because I know there's gonna be some dialect in there and stuff, and that's just not gonna work for me reading it in French. Sorry.
How did you check that? I know you said on one of your videos that you were going to check to see how the translation.
I haven't read enough of it to be able to tell you, but I will tell you in my wrap up. I'll have a
because I am curious about how the dialect.
Yeah, because
the dialect.
He read it, but it was funny what he said. He said, that story was amazing and so powerful. And he said, it's almost like some of these things, it's like the whole thing, it could have actually happened to someone. That's what he kept saying. It's like it could have actually happened to someone. And as the beginning of the story, I would say yes, that is, I would say that. But the second half,
the closer we get to the end,
that was just not working for me. I was, totally thrown off the thing. But I think it is a novel that people should read, especially since a lot of people seem to be more interested in reading Gone with the Wind than anything, which is apparently nothing more than the Southern white version of how great it was, slavery, and how happy our slaves were, and how good we were. And it's even longer while saying that.
But Dee Dee, you can't say anything negative about it because that's how people really thought. Sorry, I'm just making fun of the booktubers that say that.
Well, yeah. I'm not gonna say no, girl. Because that's what they usually do. They usually come on and say, "Yeah, I'm reading Gone with the Wind." Oh, I know the implications of slavery are complicated. Like, I'm really not about this one, Okay, go ahead and read it. So I figured if you're gonna read that, we need to read this one right alongside of it. That way you can get the real version of what happened to slaves.
Right.
And then the other one, you can drink that Kool-Aid after.
Right. And it's a big difference. I read Gone with the Wind in middle school, but it's a difference between I've read other slavery stories since then, but it's just not. No. Gone with the Wind is nowhere near an accurate interpretation.
Well, I've had a hard time trying to pick up that, but I would never. I don't know. I could, because I've even seen the movie. I think I saw the movie when I was 10 or 11, and it was just.
Yeah, I saw the movie too.
It was like on the verge of being freaking comical. That movie.
Yeah, well, I'm the minority in this group because I have watched that movie ad nauseum. So. I live in the city where part of it was filmed, so part of that goes along with that too. So that's like part of your induction, I guess, into the movie society of the city. But I've watched that movie ad nauseum, and I don't dislike it. I understand the issues with it, and I agree with the people who have the issues with it. But one of the things my stepmom told me, because it came out when she was younger, is they planned a field trip for her school and they went to see it in the movie theater, and black folk got up and walked out the theater within the first 30 minutes.
Oh my God. Oh wow.
Yes.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised. I was 10 and
absolutely not.
Watched the whole movie just to see what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was a little bit like not really believing it, but unfortunately, slavery is not a subject that's treated to its full capacity at school. It's, if anything, I think you would say
it's a footnote.
A bit.
Oh yeah, it is a.
It's a footnote.
There was slavery, but then Abraham Lincoln,
saved them. Yeah.
They make it seem like slavery was like 10 years long or something. Like, it was just a tad
long and not as gruesome.
You're a century and some more years. You're almost 2 centuries off. But
it's like.
But I mean, it's not even that. It's like they don't even insist upon the whole idea that the slave was an object, was part of their wealth,
property.
They were considered freaking property. Okay.
Yeah, chattel slavery. This is the first time that ever happened. Where. Like slavery existed obviously before this, and it's it was more like paying debts or you did something wrong or whatever, and then it just they don't even focus on that. They even in this book at least they show that she showed that they thought it's like having a cow, or even less than that. It was like, you're my property. Oh, I gotta fix you if you. It's like almost like having a machine almost. That's how they treat human beings. I mean. It was sickening. How can you?
I mean, I don't know, but I mean the Gone with the Wind will always circulate on BookTube. It circulated last year on BookTube. It's circulating again this year.
They can have.
Because they play Gone with the Wind the day before Thanksgiving every year on Turner Classic Movies, all day, one after the other.
Well,
every year.
well, the book is on one of the. It's on the one of the books you should read before you die list. I think it's on there. Gone with the Wind.
But who should read it
Oh,
though? Who?
Anybody who
you.
yeah,
Universal you.
you. It's on that list. So, people. I mean, I think this year some people were reading it this month.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Well, yeah. Some people were reading it this month. I mean, but then a lot of people.
Wow. Okay.
They don't give a shit about Black History Month. You know that. I mean, let's keep it real. A lot of people don't give a shit about Black History Month. They feel coerced to read something,
That just
So
threw me for a loop.
threw me for a loop too when I saw it. But then actually, I came down off the loop and I said, oh yeah, okay, whatever. It's
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's a book too, So
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So yeah. I mean, how are you guys living? How did you live Black History Month this month?
Well, we had actually this has been a busy a busy month on the Black History side. More so, my church, it has a backing in dealing with our history as African Americans, and we've been doing that for years. And this year, we actually had Jeremiah Wright come down, who's a longtime friend of our pastors, and he came and did was he 2 nights or 3 nights? I don't know. Services about our history and bringing our history current, like knowing our history and the impact of that on where we are today, and understanding that your history doesn't start where you think it starts. It doesn't. Our history doesn't start in slavery. Our history doesn't just consist of slavery, Jim Crow, and the civil rights movement.
The civil rights movement.
So that's right, and that's what we've done this month. So that's where the majority of my activity with that has been.
Well, that's good.
That's good.
I think that's good. I mean, I think we had a good month on Instagram. We had a lot of people participating, and so now, awesome. Yeah, I mean, like now you can go, if you go on Instagram and you tap in hashtag Read So Lit. Lord, there are recs for days
it's
over
awesome.
there. Like almost 2,800 recs out there.
I've done such a horrible job with photo challenges. I don't know what the deal is with the Instagram photo challenges. I've just been horrible with getting those together, but I have been checking out the hashtag, and the response has been great. The response last year
really
was
good,
but this is just this is doubled and then some. It's been great.
I know. There's so many. I feel like
many new people. I'm so thankful for all the old people that have said, okay, I'm gonna come back and do it again. But the thing is, everybody is suggesting books that are so different.
Yes.
You're not just getting the typical Alice Walker, Toni Morrison, like the typical Giovanni's Room, like the classic ones that people seem to be able to somehow read. But I feel like
last year it was, there was some books that I hadn't heard of, but it was mostly books that I knew about. But this year, there's so many that I have no idea about, and that's so rare because I feel like I'm constantly looking for books by Black authors, always keeping up with it, and so to see that, it was so exciting. And
very exciting. This month.
So different. Everything was such an eclectic group.
Very eclectic group. People are reading some very different things. So, if you're, craving to have some ideas and you don't have any ideas and you want to read something more than Giovanni's Room, Color Purple, and Their Eyes Were Watching God, you want to go a bit further than that.
Go to Instagram.
You go over to Instagram and it's like a candy store over there. I mean, so many.
That's awesome.
I don't know what we're going to do for next year, what we're going to come up with.
People did really well on the book spine poetry.
Danielle, yours was awesome.
That was some awesome ones.
It took me forever.
But I was like, girl, where is your book spine poetry?
The payoff.
I said that I have a bunch right now.
Payoff.
Trying to figure it out. Oh, I knew I had to have a Jimmy book in there, so I was like, I have to have.
Yeah,
But luckily, the titles
right.
are really good. So.
Yeah, yours was good. Sister Outsider, Sister Mine. Please tell me how long the train's been gone. That was
It's
Danielle. That was
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
that
I
was
love yours, Dee, too. Oh my God, there are some good ones. I
there
was.
were some really good ones. There was one she did all of them with I think it was Zane books.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
really? Okay, yeah,
All
I'm gonna
with
have to look.
Zane
I'm gonna have
books. I think she did
to
it
check it
with.
out.
Let's see if I can find it because I mean I thought that was people really got creative on that one and it was really interesting and so then you get even more Rex on that one. So I can't remember. Let's see if I can
I
find.
haven't read a Zane. I don't
Neither
know.
have you read a Zane, Tatiana?
Yes,
I don't know if like
I have read 4. I think 4 of hers.
you need to get on that.
What's the best one?
What's the best one?
hmm
The one what for me?
Yeah, for Zane, from
The
Zane.
one I liked the best was Afterburn. That I think that's the one of the ones that she's written that's had the better plot.
Mm.
Okay, this one is kind of cool because it's got Eric Jerome Dickey, Zane, Mosley, McFadden, Omar Tyree, Carl Weber, J. California Cooper, and Nancy Flower. I don't know who Nancy Flowers is. Hers is What They Want, Sugar, Cinnamon Kiss, Honey Flavor,
Hmm.
Pleasure, Homemade Love, Something on the Side, No Strings Attached.
Oh, it's so
That's
good.
good.
Oh,
That's
it was
so
good.
good.
That's the girl, Comfy Cozy Up. Hey girl, that was hers. It
Oh,
was
I
Wow.
really
think
good.
she was in here. I think
Yeah, she was in here. Oh yeah, hers was really
it
good.
was really good. Did I like it? I need to like
Yeah, you have to like that one because it's excellent.
it. That's amazing.
Let's see.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna come up with for the questions or the things for next year, Dee Dee. We gotta start thinking about that.
Well, we
Yeah, start
definitely
thinking that.
have books find poetry again because people seem to do really well with that. They got creative on us, so we can do that one again for sure. But I mean, I think we can
Oh,
come up with something to get people inspired, and they can they can photograph their books and stuff. And then this year I just I didn't have the time to like do loads of videos and stuff like that because it was working.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
I
Work
think what I'll
sucks.
do is I might do next year. I might do a video every day.
Ooh, bless your heart. I
Yeah,
don't know
well,
how
'cause I've
Denise
never
does
done that
it.
a video every day. But if I don't do a video every day, it'll
Me
be
either.
2 videos a week. Like where I spotlight an author or spotlight a book or something.
Yeah.
To have more videos, like maybe do every Thursday, do book spine poetry or to read a poem, or spotlight an author a week, talk about a couple of books that maybe people haven't heard about that I think are good and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be good.
And then
And it would
maybe
be
we could
enjoyable.
do
And
a
we would
joint
see you
project.
more.
We could all do a joint project again because I think the joint project thing is really cool when we all get together and do something together because one of the things I really want is I want the Black booktubers to have more visibility
Mhm.
because there are some really good Black booktubers and they need to have some visibility too.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think it's really important that we wind up supporting each other and pushing each other's channels because the beauty in our this part of the of booktube I think is that we all are doing different things. Sometimes we meet up and we're reading the same things and that's really cool, but I think what's really cool is that we can be ourselves and talk about what we like to talk about in reading and the fact that I mean like that was the beauty of last year's read so lit.
Yeah.
Everybody, I didn't tell people what to do. I just said, you want to do a video? They said, yeah, I'll do the video. But
Yeah, and they're also
nobody
different.
said, oh, I'm gonna do this. Nobody had the same idea for video, and I think that just shows the versatility of this little section of BookTube. You know, so
Yeah.
we'll have to work on something that we can do as a group. I don't know what that'll be. Maybe we could do some live discussions and stuff, or you know, I was like, ooh, we could do some live
Now that I can
discussions.
figure out how to do it, how to get it, yeah.
Right.
You know, maybe we could do some live discussions on, you know, maybe the you know the stories of the moment. You know, like we could have all sat around and talked about, you know, Beyonce's Formation video and stuff like that, or
Oh yeah.
you know, because you could put a spin on that. I mean, I've been reading a lot of negatives about that. You know, in the beginning there was a lot of positives, and now all the negatives are creeping out. You know, so yeah, I mean, I'll think about what we can do as a group, because I think it's very important that we all, you know, support each other, and that you know that we, you know, we are together. You know,
That
and
reminds me of, it's like
what
Tony Daly, right? Tony Daly says that. Because who else is going to
support a sister.
support us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that Black History Month. It's not like I'm trying to ram it down anyone's throat or anything, but
I mean, it's only 28 days.
it's only 28 days, and I mean, freaking hell, on BookTube, let's face it, who the heck is reading books by Black people? Not that many people.
Right.
So,
Right.
what is it to read one book by a Black person? I mean, is it really going to kill you? Maybe
Yeah,
not.
And if
apparently.
it does, what a way to go.
Myself, Tatiana. See, we could be girlfriends in real life, Tatiana. I know it. I know it. We could be girlfriends in real life.
I
But yeah,
agree.
it's one period, and it'd be cool if we could, you know, if everybody could like celebrate it a little better. Okay, now I think it's in October is Black History Month. I think it's in the UK. I think it's in October.
Okay.
So I'll probably dig up some UK writers if I can.
Yeah,
That would be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
read UK writers in October, because you know you got to talk about, and it's the same as when they have, what is it, Latino month as well. You know,
Yeah.
that should be big too. I'm quite ready to jump on the Latino bandwagon.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Somebody decides to do a read along, like who was talking about reading books that month? There was I can't think of her name right now. There's Saray Talks Books, I think it is her channel. She was reading books for Latino month, and then there was somebody else was doing. But like if somebody decided to do a read along that month, that'd be really cool. I'd be happy to join in on that, and
Yeah.
maybe read something
I
that I would never.
know Marina's over at My Name is Marina's. She did it. I don't know if you all are subscribed.
Yeah, it
But
seemed like she had done something as well. So, you know, like that
Yeah.
should be bigger as well, you know. But it's just not. And you know, you can always ask the question, well, why? You know, but you know, it could be any reason why.
Mhm.
It could be any reason why. But you know, I say that's what we should think about for next year is, you know, doing something as a group, and pushing Black History Month, for at least for those who are interested in, you know, joining in with us. And yeah, so I hope people enjoyed reading the book and have enjoyed
I
our
hope so too.
discussion. You know, because it was a little hard getting on. You know, technical difficulty as usual with
Yes.
Plus,
Yes.
but we managed.
Thanks, Google.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Apple. Because my laptop was not wanting to function. I'm on my phone, and that everything was there. When I went to the app on my phone, everything was there.
Except the link.
No. The link
No,
was
on her
there. I was
phone
trying to
it
get it on my laptop, and it wasn't happening. And so when I pulled up the app on my phone, the link was there under the invitations on the app on my phone. I don't know
Wow.
I don't know what happened, but I got it.
Yay!
That you made it, because we didn't want to go online without you, you know. So that was great.
Well, thank you.
So I guess we're gonna stop here.
Oh, I want to thank Dee Dee also for creating #ReadSoulLit, because you're amazing.
Well, thank you, and I hope that we can all work together soon and do something really spectacular.
Yes.
Fireworks for next
Yes.
next BHM.
Yes, this
Awesome.
was very, very good and very enjoyable. Yay!
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 So how are you living your first live show, Tatiana?
I am loving it. I'm loving it. Yes, this was, and to do it at I just to get it done, because I'm always nervous when it comes to doing new technological things. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck it up, but I didn't.
No, yeah. The thing is, you have to take off the pressure because it wasn't us.
Right.
It's the system, you know. I mean, because
Yeah.
when we were going to do it, when you said you could do it at the time we had said, I said, okay, fine. So I went over and I programmed it. Programmed,
Okay.
you know, date, the time, and everything. And then so that the day of, all I had to do was just open it up, send the links, and then just wait for you to come on. Well, Danielle must have been waiting because she popped up right away when I sent the link. And I said, oh, but Tatiana isn't there. And I'm like, where is she? You know, kind of thing.
I was waiting. I just couldn't find the link. I was waiting. I was, again, looking on my computer.
Yeah, so you know that can happen, but there's nothing you can do about it, and it's not that out of the ordinary. A lot of people have difficulty with their live, you know, their live shows and making sure everyone is there. Making sure sometimes people have they all arrive and then you can't hear one person.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna complain. We did okay. We can hear everybody, you know, or you can hear the person, you can't see them, or the person keeps, you know, going off the thing. So we're pretty lucky. We just had a
this went very well.
Yeah, rocky start.
And thank you both so much for including me. I really, really appreciate
No problem. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. It really was. Okay, I'm gonna sign off, guys.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.